Hey guys, it's Miss Carlson. We're going to talk today about cellular respiration, but I just wanted to say happy Halloween. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your day off, whether or not you're going trick-or-treating or dressing up. Maybe you're just taking advantage of your time and watching your notes today. So we're going to before we jump into cellular respiration, I just want to show you the connection between that and photosynthesis. We know that photosynthesis reactants are carbon dioxide and water, and it gives off the byproducts of sugar and glucose. Well, cellular respiration is going to be the exact opposite equation, just reversing the reactants and the products. In order for cellular respiration to occur, we need oxygen and glucose, and it will give off the products carbon dioxide and water. So as you can see in this picture, it's showing you how these two cycle together and work together in order for life to sustain itself. So let's go ahead and start getting deeper into cellular respiration. And like I said, the two things you need for cellular respiration to occur are oxygen and glucose, which a lot of times we can get from our food, like a cheeseburger. So cellular respiration starts with food. If you've ever felt weak or dizzy, it's because your body isn't able to produce enough energy for you to do what you need to do. So you would need more food usually. The energy that we get through food is usually expressed in the unit calories. Those calories we can get from fats, proteins, and carbs. The main difference between where we get our calories is the energy storage. Carbs and proteins are going to give you 4 calories per gram, and fats are going to give you 9 calories per gram. While fats might be able to give you more calories, it's harder to break them down than your carbs and your protein. So cellular respiration is the process of releasing energy from food in the presence of oxygen. And generally speaking, from food, we're going to be provided with the glucose molecule. And what you end up with in the end is carbon dioxide being released through respiration, as well as water, and then our energy that is used to help us do what we do on a daily basis, which is in the form of ATP. So the breakdown of glucose is very gradual, and that's important because it allows energy to be used as we need it. Now, cellular respiration is broken down into 3 stages. The first stage is glycolysis, that starts the breakdown of glucose. Then we have the Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain. We are going to start off with talking about glycolysis, and glucose is going to enter the pathway of cellular respiration through this process. Glycolysis actually means sugar breaking, and as I said, it is the first stage of cellular respiration. There's only a small amount of ATP that is generated, but it's generated very quickly. 90% of it is still unlocked in bonds, but we get 4 ATP produced by the end, which actually results in only a net gain of 2 because we have to actually put 2 ATP into the process in order for it to occur. So where is this happening in the cell? It is actually happening in the cytoplasm. Okay? So again, through glycolysis, we take glucose, we break it down into something called pyruvic acid that is going to be passed down to the Krebs cycle, or the next stage. And what goes along with pyruvic acid are 4 ATP, but again, we only have a net production of 2 since we had to put 2 in to get 4 out. And we also have electrons being passed down to the electron transport chain. Okay, so if we're going to continue on with cellular respiration, we must maintain an aerobic environment. If we are in an aerobic environment, then oxygen is present. So when we think of respiration, most of the time we think of breathing. Well, it also means energy releasing. And like I said earlier, energy releasing part will be that carbon dioxide that leaves during respiration, but when we breathe in, we take in oxygen, which gives us that aerobic environment to continue cellular respiration. So the rest of the stages of cellular respiration actually occur in the mitochondria, as I'm pointing out here. And taking a closer look, the next stage, the Krebs cycle, occurs in the mitochondrial matrix, so that inner portion of the mitochondria, if you will, the ketchup of the hot dog, if you like to think of the mitochondria as being a hot dog. Now, within the Krebs cycle, after that process is completed, the carbon dioxide will be released, so that's when you will release that carbon dioxide. And NAD plus and FAD plus, which are electron carriers, are going to move electrons to the electron transport chain, or the ETC. And 2 ATP are also produced after 2 turns of the Krebs cycle. And now we hop over to the electron transport chain, the last and final stage of cellular respiration, which occurs in the inner membrane space. So the bun of the hot dog, if you will. And those high energy electrons are basically used to power ATP synthase, which is an enzyme, and that spins, and when it spins, it attaches phosphate groups to ADP, which we know when we attach a phosphate group to ADP, we form ATP. Specifically, 36 ATP are produced through this final stage. Now, what happens if we do not have oxygen? If we do not have oxygen, then what is happening is we are actually in an anaerobic environment. Okay, so anaerobic means no oxygen is available. And if no oxygen is available, then the body defaults to fermentation. Fermentation can only provide us with quick energy bursts. It's not going to be helpful for any exercise that's in excess of 90 seconds. We have to have cellular respiration in order for that to happen because we need that large ATP supply. Now, being that said, we do get into situations where it's harder for us to bring in oxygen. You know, maybe we're in a tough workout, and lactic acid fermentation for us would occur. So in humans, lactic acid fermentation happens in muscle cells, and if you've ever been in a workout, you haven't worked out for a while, and you ever have that muscle burn, it's created by that lactic acid. Now, prokaryotes, okay, like this little guy right here, remember those are bacteria, they actually, or some of them, can produce lactic acid as well, and they help us make foods and beverages. They do that by the waste product that gives off a sour taste, and they can make many different foods that, you know, some of us may enjoy, as you can see right here. Buttermilk, sour cream, cheese, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut. I've never been a fan of sauerkraut, and I'm not a huge fan of pickles, but they're okay. But all those things are helped to be created by waste products given off by prokaryotes when they go through lactic acid fermentation. Now, the other type of fermentation is going to be alcoholic fermentation. This occurs by yeast, and some other microorganisms can also go through alcoholic fermentation. Through these processes, we can form alcoholic beverages, and usually we get the bread rising, you know, if we make bread or any other kind of product like cakes, anything that requires yeast or something to rise, yeast is forming ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is the product that actually helps our bread to rise, and if you ever notice little holes, you know, if you look really close to bread or anything that's been baked that has risen, you can kind of see little hole pockets, which is formed from that gas, carbon dioxide. All right, that wraps us up for today. And it might have went kind of fast, so go back and pause and replay as you need to. Make sure you took good Cornell notes. You should have finished the bulky side of your Cornell notes, and now you should go back and fill in that Q column with good questions towards the notes you wrote on the right-hand side of where you write the question. You can also see the notes and tips folder that I have for Cornell notes if need be. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time.